Today, I head out before sunrise in search of an endangered species in Connecticut. It is always exciting to head out for wildlife photography, not knowing exactly what you'll find, but when a rare species has been spotted nearby, the excitement is much greater. I am out looking for a small group of red-headed woodpeckers that have been spotted. The species is really interesting, and although it can be found in a large range across the eastern and central United States, the population has been declining in many areas. It is now considered one of the rarest breeding birds in Connecticut. It is now September, so breeding season has been long over, and these birds are likely just passing through the region, so I knew I would have a short window to be able to see these birds. I was hoping to just be able to locate them, and if I got any images, that would be an added bonus. I could not have asked for a better morning to be out. There was a low fog hanging in the open fields, and the air was nice and cool. It was a beautiful morning for wildlife photography and to be out in nature. I approached the area where the woodpeckers were last seen and positioned myself so that the sun would be rising roughly behind me, so that in the off chance I actually located the birds, I would be setting myself up for success to possibly get some images. Morning everybody, thanks for joining me bright and early this morning. It is a beautiful morning out here today, and I am out and I'm really excited because I am trying to locate a species that I've never seen before and is also rare in this area of the state. There's been some sightings of it down closer to the coast, but we are far north in the state right now, and I am looking for a red-headed woodpecker that's been seen in this area. I got a tip last night, so I knew I wanted to come out bright and early this morning to see if I can locate it. Hopefully it's still here. I'm really excited. Never seen this species before, and it's a beautiful woodpecker, a really interesting woodpecker species. But I'm also trying not to get my hopes up in case that it's moved on. It's most likely moving through the area, migrating south, but we're gonna see. I'm kind of right now along the edge of this clearing, and I'm going to put on my camouflage, creep up slowly to where it's been seen. This is like the perfect habitat for it. They like these open savannas, areas where there's just kind of tall standing trees with not much understory. And this was a recent logging area, so there's some trees down, but they left a lot of these nice tall oaks that are still standing in the area that was cleared, and that's perfect habitat for them. They go after these acorns and other large masts, and they actually store these nuts and such. So I'm hoping it's still here. I'm going to keep my eyes and ears open, and hopefully it's still here. Okay, so I've been here for about 10 minutes now, and I've just kind of been crouched down in this tall grass. My initial goal, initial plan to find it was to listen for it. A lot of times with birds, you're going to hear them before you see them, and I think I just heard it coming from in front of me somewhere, but I have no idea where. I could not tell how far away it was or how high up in the tree it was. So I'm just going to kind of make my way slowly towards that direction, sit and wait again, and hopefully it'll make its sound again and I can kind of pinpoint where it is. It's exciting. There's also all sorts of wrens and other things. And I also saw a black bear off in the distance, so there's a lot of activity. Okay, it's right above me. This is unbelievable. The red-headed woodpecker is a highly omnivorous species, meaning that it eats both animal and plant matter. In summer, the preferred food is insects, which the species is well adapted as a flycatcher, actively flying out from a perch and capturing flying insects, which is highly unusual woodpecker behavior. This is one of the aspects that makes this species unique. It is believed that because of this adaptation, over time, the tongue of this species has actually evolved differently from other woodpeckers. The tongue of the red-headed woodpecker is shorter in length and lacks the barbs that are typically found on the tips of the woodpecker tongues. This is absolutely incredible. I am so lucky right now. I feel so lucky to be able to have found this species. I've never seen it before. It's a beautiful, and it's an adult, it has a beautiful bright red head, and it is just right in front of me. I didn't even have to go searching for it too much. I was able to just hear its call, and then it was just right there. I mean, you cannot get any better than that. And it is never this easy in wildlife photography, so I'm very lucky. It's on a dead snag of a tree, dead branch of a tree right now. And right now I'm shooting up with the sky behind it. I'm gonna try to maneuver around that way, very, very slowly and quietly, to get some tree in the background, and that'll just make a nicer image. Right now it's kind of on the back side of the log away from me, and I'm just trying to wait and see if it's going to fly or not. Because if it's going to end up going to a new perch, I'm going to have to probably relocate anyway. So I'm just going to wait a little bit, and if it continues up on this perch, then I'll move again. So awesome. In winter, the diet shifts to eating mainly plant matter in the form of acorns, beech nuts, and other seeds. The red-headed woodpecker is one of only 4 species of woodpeckers in the world that actively stores and caches their food for the winter. They place these nuts in cavities and wedge them in tree bark, even being observed covering the nuts with tree bark and other items to store their food and hide it. The abundance of acorns and other hard mass food items determines where this species can be found during the fall and winter months as it moves through regions. Luckily for me, we've had a bumper crop of acorns this fall, so there are plenty of acorns to go around. Well, there's at least 2 red-headed woodpeckers here, which is amazing. The one that was kind of perched in front of me here has since flown twice. It's gone to 2 different trees kind of farther away from me. I'm just gonna move kind of a little bit to my right over here and sit and set up and wait. Right now they're far away, and it's a good opportunity to move. That way I can kind of get in position for the branch that it was perched on initially. It looked like a good perch that it was kind of hammering at, preening on. So if I can get in position so I'm set up for that perch. There's also a nice really perch behind me as well that has a lot of woodpecker holes in it. And then, I mean, really the problem is there's all of these trees are perfect spots for it. So it's just gonna be a matter of setting up and hoping that it comes back over towards me. Right now it's about 100 yards away, about probably 50 yards up in an oak tree. Maybe not 50 yards, 50 feet up in an oak tree. But this is awesome. I mean, amazing. It hasn't really been quite close enough for photos yet. I've got my teleconverter engaged and I'm using crop mode in the video, so I'm able to get a little bit closer in the video than in the photos. Sorry, there's all sorts of activity around here. But it's been kind of just a little bit too far away for photos yet. So I'm hoping if I set up here, maybe it'll come a little bit closer this way and I can get some images of it. The red-headed woodpecker is one of 7 woodpecker species located in the state. While sitting and watching the red-headed woodpecker, I was able to locate 3 other species of woodpeckers, and it was really interesting to be able to watch them all interacting with one another. They spent much of their time following each other around, seeing if the other had left any food behind. There's red-bellied woodpecker and northern flickers, all hanging around on the same dead branches. The woodpecker is kind of going back and forth between a couple of trees that are pretty far away. I've seen at least 2 of them at a time. So there's definitely 2 of them, both adults. And the species is very hard to tell male and female apart. They look exactly the same when they're adults, which is kind of uncommon with woodpeckers. You should usually tell between male and female, but with this species, you really can't tell. So there's 2 adults. I don't know if they're male or female. It's likely a family group, but they're just kind of hanging out. They're kind of sunning themselves on the perches, pretty high up in the trees. But I've been sitting here quietly for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. And the whole time I've been here, everything's been quiet, everything's been calm. But the last 5 minutes or so, everything has started to do its alarm call. We've got squirrels, you can hear them chattering away. There were robins doing their alarm call. Blue jays were calling. So it's kind of a little nerve-wracking sitting in some high grass and shrubs and can't really see that far around me. And everything's doing their alarm call. So just kind of keeping my ears open and seeing if I hear anything. I haven't heard anything, but we'll see. And just like that, a coyote went trotting by. I got a half blurry picture of it going by. It just didn't even stop. It was right on the edge of the tree line. It kind of goes uphill there, and I can kind of see into the forest. It's open, and just went trotting by. And now everything in the forest is doing its alarm call now. I have a squirrel right in front of me that's doing its alarm call still. It's just amazing. Sit out here and amazing things happen. It's also why I'm in this camouflage too. Do I probably need it to photograph woodpeckers? Probably not. However, this woodpecker is rare in the state. It's declining in a lot of its range. So, number one, I wanted to do that so I didn't disturb the woodpecker. But number two, when you're in this and sitting still and quiet, the forest just goes back to normal, gets calm, and then you're able to have these just random chance encounters with predators coming by and not even noticing that you're there. I mean, it's like, it's perfect. Try not to disturb everything that's in the forest with your presence, and this just is a tool to let you do that. So you can just be almost invisible. And it's, I mean, I wish the coyote stopped, obviously. I wish I was able to get a picture of it, but it went by undisturbed, and that's even better. So, man, that's why you gotta listen. Listen to the forest, because it's, if you know the alarm calls of the species that are around you, you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. And I mean, I heard they started doing their alarm calls about 10 minutes before I even saw the coyote. So it's like a chain reaction. The squirrels that are around the coyote immediately are doing their alarm call, and then it just kind of goes like a ripple effect in the forest and spreads in the direction that the coyote's going. And then eventually it came to where I could hear it, and then now it's back into the forest in the same direction the coyote went. So the decline of this species in New England is believed to be linked to two different factors. One being the reduction of habitat, as much of the area that had been cleared in the 17 and 1800s for farming was left abandoned, and the forests eventually regrew, meaning that the open forest habitat that this species prefers has declined dramatically. The second factor is the arrival and now abundance of the non-native European starlings. The starlings compete for cavities for nesting, and there's a possibility that the presence of starlings in the area decreases nest success and survival of young red-headed woodpeckers. Interestingly, even though this is such a brightly colored and easily identifiable species, there is still much to learn about the biology and behaviors, particularly regarding nesting and factors that influence nest success. More research is needed to establish accurate plans for conservation efforts with this species in mind, to ensure that the population does not continue to decline across its range. Well, I'm going to call it a day. I've been out here for a couple hours now, and the red-headed woodpeckers have flown off to the far side over there. I could go after them, but I'd rather not disturb them. They've got this great spot here for them to forage. There's a lot of food for them, and it's just really a great pleasure just to be able to see them. And I got some great video and images of them. I mean, they're not the best, but good for the first time ever seeing this species. So thanks for tagging along with me. I hope you really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed coming out this morning. Beautiful morning, beautiful species to photograph. Got to see a glimpse of a black bear, got to see a glimpse of a coyote. I mean, what more can you ask for? So thanks for tagging along, and I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you again so much.